Welcome, one and all, and Shabbat Shalom. Great to have you here with us at Temple Avat Shalom. I'm Rabbi Matt Berger, and I'm joined on the bima with our soloist, Allison Rosoff, down at the piano. Our accompanist, Joy Katzen-Guthrie. Special welcome to all of you who are catching the service from home. Bruchim Habaim, welcome to you all. And special words of mazel and congratulations to the Silber family in honor of Drew's bar mitzvah. And later on, he'll be leading a few of the service of the prayers in our service. So definitely looking forward to that. Our first song is going to be a different arrangement of the familiar psalm Hine Ma Tov, which you can find in your prayer books. Mishkan Tefillah, if you're in the front row. The prayer books are underneath the seat in front of you. Mishkan Tefillah means dwelling place of prayer. You'll find the Hebrew, the transliteration into English, English translation, as well as some crib notes at the bottom of the page. This arrangement written by Alana Arian. Hope you enjoy it. And there's a back and forth section that Alice and I will be singing that hopefully you'll catch on relatively quickly as well. Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. One more time. Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad.
How good it is.
How good it is.
How sweet it is.
How sweet it is
to be together on this day. How good it is.
How good it is.
How sweet it is.
How sweet it is to be together on this day. Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hope you enjoyed that arrangement. We are now going to sing Light These Lights, and just before that, it's my pleasure to call forward Drew and Trudy Silber, and they're going to be helping us light the Shabbat candles right here on the bima.
Gracious to the ones I love, and bless them with goodness and mercy and peace. Oh, hear my prayer to you. Let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say Amen. Let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say Amen.
Blessed are you, Adonai, God, sovereign of the universe, who follows us with mitzvah, committing to us to kindle the light for Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Let's all say, well done. Yasher Koach in Hebrew for Drew and Trudy. Thank you so much for leading us. Our next prayer you will find on the screen as our thoughts turn towards Israel. Feel free to join me. O Heavenly One, protector and redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. May you bless the soldiers of the Israel Defense Forces and all who stand guard to protect our people. Shield them from all troubles and injury. Help them secure freedom without loss of life for all those held captive by the enemy. May they have strength and courage of heart. We are now going to turn to the traditional Kabbalat Shabbat poem and song called Lecha Dodi, Come My Beloved, where we symbolically greet the Sabbath bride. You'll find the words on page 20 and 21. And this is another arrangement by Alana Arian. We've sang this at least once or twice before, but not for quite some time. So hopefully the tune will come back to all of us. We'll be singing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. And when we get to that final verse, which is Boi V'Shalom, where we ask the Shabbat bride to come in peace, I'll invite you to stand up and face one of the doorways to greet the Sabbath bride.
Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה בני שבת לקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת לקבלה שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד השביענו אל המיוחד אדוני אחד שמו אחד בשם לתפארת ולתהילה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת לקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת לקבלה לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם לחיסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה לך דודי
לקראת כלה, בני שבת, לקבלה, לך דודי, לקראת כלה, בני שבת, לקבלה. התעוררי, 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 אורי, 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 דברי, אדוני אלי קהילה, לך דודי, לקראת כלה, בני שבת, לקבלה, לך דודי, לקראת כלה, בני שבת, לקבלה. We're at the final verse. בואי בשלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי כלה, לך דודי, לקראת כלה, בני שבת, לקבלה, לך דודי, לקראת כלה, בני שבת, לקבלה. Feel free to be seated. On page 26, as we make our way to the next part of the service, Shema and its blessings, you'll find words of praise, the Chatzi Kaddish.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה.
Amen.
ביעמד יברח יוטב ימליך מלכותי. בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי כל בית ישראל. בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם עולם ימיה. יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירן בעמה ואמרו אמן.
Let's rise now for the call to prayer, also known as the Barchu. You'll find this on page 28. Lai, lai, invite you to join me in a prayer for creation in the evening on page 31, Ma'ariv Aravim. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. Heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Haravim Aravim. And a prayer of love, Ahavat Olam, is found in the middle of 33. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol. All these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Israel. We'll sing Kleppers, Open Up Our Eyes.
Open up our eyes, teach us how to live, fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one. Open up our eyes. Teach us how to live.
Teach us how to live.
Fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one, and we will know that you are one. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
Feel free to be seated. We'll continue now, chanting the words of the Shema. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Page 36. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'beitecha u'vlechtecha b'derech u'shofbecha u'vkumecha u'kshartam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha u'ktavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim Ani Adonai Elohim Asher Hotzeiti Etchem Me'aretz Mitzrayim Liot Lachem Elohim Ani Adonai Elohim. Words of truth and faith, emet ve'emunah, are found on the top of 39. Please join me. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we are taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness. There is no way to go from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. And these words will also become part of our Passover Seder with a slightly different tune when that happens. For redeeming Israel, Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. Now turn to words of shelter and protection that Israel needs, especially at this time, as well as Ukraine. You'll find the words to the Hashkivenu prayer, grant, O God, that we may lie down in peace, on page 42.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom ve'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom ve'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Ushmor Tzeitenu Uvoenu Lechaim U'Shalom Me'ata ve'ad olam.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom ve'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim ve'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim ve'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Blessed are you, God, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, your people Israel, and Yerushalayim. And now, at this time, it is my pleasure and honor to call upon our bar mitzvah, Drew Silber, who will be leading us in the next few prayers, these standing prayers that begin on page 46. I'll ask all of us to rise as he sings the first, second, and third prayer of the tefillah.
Adonai Shabbat Tifta Ufi Agiti Yotecha. Adonai, open my lips and my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Oteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor, Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel, Hasadim, Salmim, Berkone, Hakol, Vizahir, Hastevo, Vimaru, Umevi, Ulah, Livne, Vne, Emo, Anshema, Yahara, Mela, Ozer, Mashiach, Magin. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechaye hakol atah v'av l'shia, Mashiv ha'rion v'rid ha'gashem, Mekokeh ha'yim ve'chesed, Mechaye hakol ve'rachamim abim, Somei noflim v'rofei holim, Umatim hasirim, Mekayem emunato, Nishene yafar, Mihamo hara gerot, Umido mela, Mela mimi uhaye, Umatmi Yeshua, B'ne'eman tal hahayo hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, Mehaye hakol.
אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך הסלע. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Feel free to be seated. Once again, let's say Yasher Koach to Drew, which means strength to you. Beautiful job leading the prayers. And you can take a seat, but you'll come back up later for the Shabbat Kiddush towards the end of the service. Let's now continue with the Emsaot, blessings 4, 5, 6, and 7 of the Tefillah. First with a prayer for the holiness of Shabbat on page 55. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat, a prayer called Avodah on the next page. Let our eyes behold your loving return to Zion. Blessed are you, God, whose presence returns to Zion. Baruch atah Adonai Hamachazir Shechinato Litzion. And we'll share words of gratitude, Hoda'ah, such as celebrating Simcha's joyous events. You'll find this prayer on 59. Baruch atah Adonai Hatov Shimcha Ulha Na'el Lechodot. And I'll invite you to join me in a prayer for peace on page 60. Shalom Rav. Grant abundant peace in Israel to your people forever, for you are the sovereign God of all peace. May it be pleasing to you to bless your people Israel in every season and moment with your peace. Blessed are you, God, who blesses your people Israel with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, Hambarech et Amo Yisrael, Shalom. And for our time of reflection and meditation, Allison and Joy will be leading us in A Meditation by Portnoy.
Son Imrifi, you let on son Imrifi, say shalom bimroma. Uya say shalom aleinu. Ve'yakol Israel v'imiru, v'imiru, amen.
If you turn to page 253 in your Siddur, your prayer book, you'll find our prayer of healing. Misha Berach, God, the one who blesses those who are in need of strength. We think of all those affected in Israel who are casualties and recovering, along with the following individuals, both here in our congregation and beyond. We think of Joanne Beeman Fiddleman, Yonatan Reuven Ben Rivka, Charlie Burke, Brad Bliefeld, Tina Bruns, Marie D'Alessandro, Paul Devaney, Norman Fiddleman, Sue Fischelo, Harry Fleisch, Mitchell Freifeld, David Freelander, Joyce Holbrook, Jim Howard, Kathy Howard, Phyllis King, Lou Quall, Dave Lawrence, Joan Lawrence, Jonathan Marks, Tova Marks, Ken Mercero, Arnold Miller, William Miller, Barbara Randall, Stephen Randall, Michael Ranzino, Stephanie Ross, Carol Spani, Dennis Schulman, Cal Simon, Angie Sermenis, and Jeff Stark. If there are any other names you'd like to add now for healing, feel free.
Tim Cleary, Cookie Lopez, my father, George Stark.
Misheberach Avotenu Mikor HaBracha Limotenu. May the source of strength who blessed the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misheberach Imotenu Mikor HaBracha Avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
After services one Shabbat, Rabbi Cohen was approached by Larry Levy, a famous TV producer. Rabbi Cohen, he said, that sermon was amazing. In fact, it's so good that I want to put you on my nationally televised talk show. Oh my, the rabbi says, I'm so flattered. That would be great. Here's the thing, though, Rabbi, Levy said. The average attention span of our viewers is much shorter than your typical sermon. In other words, you can't have a 25-minute sermon on TV. The rabbi replies, all right, I see. Well, I could take away the opening anecdote about my family's trip to Atlanta. That'll shorten it down to about 18 or 19 minutes. Larry says, that's a start, Rabbi, but it's still way too long. The rabbi explained, then instead of giving 5 examples of my teaching, I'll just give 3. That'll probably cut it down to a dozen minutes. Larry replies, well, now we're getting somewhere, Rabbi, but it still needs to be shorter than that. The rabbi says, well, I could just give 1 example of my teaching, a beginning, a middle, an end, and a nice takeaway. I'll tell you what, I can do the whole sermon in 5 minutes flat. To this, Levy says to the rabbi, so, why didn't you do that tonight? A 5-minute sermon. You can say a lot in 5 minutes. And given that I speak pretty much exactly 165 words a minute, that's 825 words. In fact, it's 3 minutes longer than the shortest Passover Seder that I've ever heard of, which clocks in at 2 minutes flat, not including dinner, of course. I'll ask our tech team to share its tagline on the screen. Mixing tradition with brevity. On the other side of the coin, the longest sermon likely took place on this very Shabbat, called Shabbat HaGadol, the Great Shabbat. The question is, why is the Shabbat right before Passover so great? Some believe it's named after the great or awesome sermons that the rabbis would deliver from the pulpit. A long time ago, a sage named Rashi thought it's named after the very lengthy sermons that the rabbis typically delivered on the pulpit, which can make the service drag on and on and on, meaning the day is great in the sense that it's protracted. Others believe that a Nes Gadol, or great miracle, happened on this Shabbat. You might recognize the phrase Nes Gadol, a great miracle, because it's also used during 2 other holidays, Hanukkah and Purim. According to the psalmist, 5 days before the biblical Exodus took place, on the 10th day of the Hebrew month of Nisan, the Israelites took lambs into their homes and tied them to their bedposts, if you can believe it. Why? In order to use them for the Passover offering. The problem was the Egyptians thought lambs were worshipped. Now for the miracle. When the firstborn Egyptians asked the Israelites about those lambs that were being stored in their house, rather than turning them into the Pharaoh, they decided to let it be, and they said nothing. Perhaps the most straightforward reason is this week's Shabbat Haftarah selection from the prophet Malachi, which Drew will read some from tomorrow. I'll ask our tech team to display it on the screen with this well-known quote, "Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the great and awesome day of God." This refers to the day that the Messiah will come to bring peace to the world. Elijah, as we know, is the same prophet that we open the door for toward the end of Shabbat, and we also offer a cup filled with wine or grape juice for the prophet as well. So here we are, just 3 days before Passover begins. Without a doubt, this has been a week filled with a lot of nerves. Thankfully, Iran's unprecedented attack on Israel, which included 300-plus missiles and drones fired from multiple countries, was by and large thwarted. In fact, well over 99% of the missiles and drones were intercepted by Israel and her allies, including the U.S. This, too, was a Nes Gadol, a great miracle. Now, I, for one, am really looking forward to chanting the 4 questions at the Seder, even though I'm not really the youngest one at my family's Seder table. All of us, in just a few short days, will ask, Ma nishana halayla hazeh, why will this night be different from all other nights? I think that now the answer is pretty clear. This night, or this Pesach, will be different because Israel is at war and she's under attack. Of course, certain things will stay the same. All of us will drink 4 cups of grape juice or wine. All of us will sing Dayenu. It would have been enough for God to redeem our ancestors from Egypt, give us the Torah as well as the holy day of Shabbat. And like it or not, all of us will eat matzah, which is called the bread of suffering for a reason. As the story goes, the Israelites didn't have time to let the dough rise in their haste to leave Egypt, resulting in a flat bread with a very rough, bumpy texture that's also easily broken. Now, this theme of brokenness is part and parcel of the Israelites' experience. When a new Pharaoh arose who knew not Joseph and failed to recognize the good that Joseph did for the Egyptians, our trust in Pharaoh was broken. Our backs were broken from the harshness of slavery, especially when the Pharaoh increased the daily work quotas for the Jews with less material. Our hearts were broken when the Israelite firstborn baby boys were killed in Egypt by government order. The Pharaoh then continually broke his promises, time and again hardening his heart, allowing the Israelites to leave only to quickly take it back and change his mind. And finally, the waters of the Red Sea parted or broke open, allowing our ancestors to cross safely to the other side. As it turns out, one of the 15 steps of the Passover Seder is called yachatz, which means brokenness. So I'll ask our tech team to show what it looks like on the picture. During this step, we break the middle of the 3 pieces of matzah that's on the plate on our table. We'll hide the larger half, which is called the afikomen, or dessert, which the kids will look for and find after the dinner is completed. Yet our sages also explain that breaking this middle piece of matzah helps, ironically, make the world more whole. A legend explains that when the Israelite slaves were fortunate enough to have just a little bit more food than they needed, they would break off a piece of their regular bread and share it with a fellow Israelite slave who had less. This breaking of the bread represents the spirit of shared unity from our ancestors, even in the most difficult of times. And it teaches us that we should always continue to hope, precisely when the world seems broken. Last night, a number of us were here to listen to our congregational siblings, Elise and Mark Silver, longtime members of the congregation, who shared their profound experiences recently volunteering in Israel on 2 separate trips. They picked strawberries on kibbutz farms, they packed snack boxes for soldiers on Israeli Defense Force military bases, and they spoke and shared time with hostage families. Their presentation, which shows photographs as well as videos, showed the immense kindness and generosity of Israelis who welcomed them and thanked them for coming with open arms, even in the most difficult of times. Since October 7th, volunteers from over 200 countries have traveled to the Holy Land. I'll ask our tech team to show a picture of just some of them in action. It's not Elise and Mark, but they're in the fields. Thousands more are on waiting lists, hoping to serve in whatever capacity is needed. And while many of these volunteers are Jewish, more of them are not. In fact, there are individuals from every faith tradition represented. But they all have one thing in common. They all love and support Israel. And in doing so, they are making the world a little bit more whole. It's a truly inspiring message. As we gather for our Passover Seders next week, I'll invite you to be sure to enjoy the time that you spend with family and friends. Cherish their presence, which is a gift and a blessing. And leave an empty chair in recognition of the hostages who are not able to celebrate Passover with us this year. And let us all pray for the day when nation shall not lift up sword against nation, nor learn war anymore, as the prophet Isaiah once said. Shabbat Shalom. We are going to continue now with the Aleinu, the adoration. You'll find these words on page 282. I'll ask any gentleman to come up and help me open the ark. We've got one. Josh is my absolute steady. Every single week he's here to help me open the ark. Let's rise together. Feel free to come forward. Now, when Drew comes down, take a look at his sneakers with the gold laces. Come on up. Thank you.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני נלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
Feel free to be seated. Let's say Yasher Koach to our lovely gentleman who helped us with the ark. This time we'll continue with the words of Kaddish Yatom, Mourner's Kaddish, that you'll find on page 294 in your prayer book, Words of Praise. We think of families in the period of Shloshim, first 30 days, mourning a loved one, as we fondly remember Rabbi Barry Silver, friend of Lynn Rosenthal, Bobby Chambers, cousin of Lori Bauk, Al Leo, close friend of Gary Klein, Rabbi Klein, Joseph Lieberman, American hero and senator from Connecticut, Robert Wallenstein, cousin of Myron Graff, Selma Biller, aunt of Debbie Golem, Michael Leibowitz, nephew of Betty Slavny, and Sam Grossman, father of Michelle Gordon. We also now mark the yahrzeit anniversary of passing of loved ones who died during the season in prior years. We remember Edward Abo, Benjamin Alban, Esther Alban, Steve Alcorn, Jenny Schatzberg-Basuk, Harold Arthur Bergner, Molly Brevort, Yossi Cohen, Catherine Devine, Bess Antel, Sylvia Fox, Nathan Goldman, Leo Goldsmith, Ida Gordon, Margie Granoff, Faye Joseph, Helene Katz, Sadie Kessler, Herbert Kotler, David Kushner, Gusta Mellinger, Harvey Nemiroff, Morris Uziel, Sarah Patrick, Lee C. Plevin, Alfred Schick, Gloria Schengel, Anna Simon, Natalie Skalka, Blanche Malensky, Doris Stotland, Wayne Van Ness, and Harold G. Wenig. Are there any of the names to add for Yahrzeit at this time? We say, Zichronam Livracham, may the memories of all of these good people continue to be a source of blessing in their friends and loved ones' lives as we rise to offer the words of Mourner's Kaddish together. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yalma v'yivrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uvyomechon, v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, v'agalav v'zman kariv v'imru.
Amen.
Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam mulamei al-maya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, shemei d'kudusha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiram v'yalma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min Shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Osei shalom b'mamav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, Israel, and the world, to which we say, Amen.
V'imru, 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 amen. V'imru, 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 amen.
Feel free to be seated. Pleasure once again to invite Drew to the bima, to the lectern, to help us lead the Shabbat evening Kiddush. You'll find these words on the screen as well as on page 5 in your prayer book as we bless God for the fruit of the vine.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pari agafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshai mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kadsho v'yahava ratzon hihilanu. Zikaron l'maaseh, bereshit ki hu yom tehila, l'mikra'e kodesh zecher l'tziach mitzrayim, kivanu v'harta, v'otanu kidasha, mikol amim, v'shabbat kodecha.
And let's say L'chaim, to life. What do you think? Good. All right. Good answer. All right. Any other kids who are here who'd like to join Drew, Allison, and myself on the bima? We got nice slices of challah. You'll find the motzi, the blessing over the challah, right on the screen. Great seeing you. Shabbat shalom. The Silbers and my son Avi. I think it's gonna be good. Motzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Say b'tei avon, enjoy. Well, Yasher Koach, each and every one of you, well done. Now at this time, my pleasure to call Paula Rosoff, president of our congregation, to the Bema. She'll share some Shabbat announcements that I have right here. All right, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and Mazel Tov to the Silber family, especially to Drew on his accomplishment of becoming Bar Mitzvah. Many thanks to Rabbi Matt, Allison, Joy for leading a wonderful Shabbat service, along with our tech team, Steve Koenigsberg and Bruce Lowett, and our greeters, Rick and Elisa Katzev and Phoebe Tave. I don't think it was them tonight. And also to Joy. Ron Gilbert will lead our Shabbat morning minyan in the library on Saturday, April 20th at 9 a.m. Drew will become a bar mitzvah at our 10:30 service in the sanctuary. Brotherhood's Book Club, open to the congregation, will meet this Sunday at 10:30, April 21st. Our second annual night Passover Community Seder will take place on Tuesday, April 23rd at 6 p.m. RSVP online or by phone. The Pinellas County Board of Rabbis and Jewish Federation will host a Yom HaShoah Holocaust commemoration on Sunday, May 5th at 7 p.m. at Congregation Beth Shalom with speaker Michael Eagle, interim CEO of the Florida Holocaust Museum. Join us on Monday, May 13th at 7 p.m. for a great Israel Independence Day program with Israeli author and comedian Joel Chasnov. This free program is the opening night of Israel Days, sponsored by 5 area congregations and the Jewish Federation. After the service, please join us for an Oneg Shabbat in the social hall. And I'd just like to add to this, we're having a book sale. Over the years, we've had many donations of books from people, and we will be holding it next Friday evening and Sunday, but they're in the social hall already. So if you're here, lucky enough to be here tonight, you can get a sneak peek. And the sale is just by donation only. So Shabbat Shalom, thank you.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Paula. And in case you're wondering, I found another huge stash of books that will go to a subsequent book sale today. It was the only room that I haven't been in this entire building. And I was finally looked into it today and then saw 15 more boxes of books. We are going to close with Osei Shalom, a prayer of peace. You'll find the words right on the screen. Osei Shalom b'Roma, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu. Osei Shalom b'Roma, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu. Osei Shalom b'Roma, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu Shabbat Shalom. Thank you so much for coming, and let's enjoy a nice oneg together. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You probably could have done another verse from that, another round of that, but let me turn this off.
It worked out just fine.